this team has done everything to this point that it could do and that we expected of them. They've played three teams that, in looking back, were better than, and they've dominated all three. We still have some question marks on where we go from here, and the competition picks up quickly because Arkansas is a much better team than the score indicated last weekend, because Alabama had 4 really long plays. Now, we've already had the Arkansas press conference once, so I guess we can have it again and rewind, but I did want to go back over some things about the Rice game that were important. Colts' passing efficiency in the game was 260. It was absolutely amazing. We continue to talk about the strength of quarterbacks in the Big 12. 6 of the top 10 quarterbacks in Division 1A passing efficiency are in the Big 12. Sam Bradford's number 2, Colt's number 3, and Chase Daniels number 4 in that group. Colt completed 13 straight passes, tying a school record that he already had. We had a 99-yard scoring drive in the game. That's the 5th one in our 11 years since we've been at Texas, and it builds great confidence for your team when they can take it off the goal line and take what was a very positive play for Rice with them with a pooch punt, punting it down to the 1-yard line and taking it 99 to the other end. Rice was converting 55%, 54.8% on third downs, and we held them to 2 out of 14, 14%. So we did much better with our third down defense. We had 7 sacks, which is a huge improvement from where we were. We didn't punt for the first time since 2003. You'd like to have it where your punter does not letter. If you could keep him from having enough snaps during the year to have a letter jacket, that'd be a good thing. Then you start looking at the goal line stand was phenomenal. It's one I have not seen before. The 11 snaps inside the 5-yard line, and I think most of those inside the 2. And the guys held them going down there, and we actually held Rice to -1 yard on 8 plays, which is really, really difficult to do and should continue to let our confidence grow in the red zone with our defense. And we're seeking our 6th 4-0 start in the last 8 years, which is important to us. Offensively, 3 for 3 in the red zone, had 3 drives of over 80 yards. We felt the most productive player was Colt McCoy, breaking Major Applewhite's record. There was a lot said about whether Major wanted him to or not. Obviously he did. They had a lot of fun with that after the game, and Major was the first to congratulate him on the sideline. The Boss Hogg Award for the outstanding offensive line play went to Chris Hall and Michael Huey. The best play of the game went to Chris Obanau on his wheel route that was a touchdown catch from Colt. And the top contributor was Jordan Shipley, because he had probably his best game since he's been at the University of Texas. There were 9 plays in the Q package, and we felt like that the good was obvious with our offense. The concerns are ball security. You can't have 2 turnovers, and that's something that we've done very well in the first 2 ball games and didn't do as well. We are in the top 11 in scoring offense and scoring defense, along with USC and Penn State. So there's only 3 of us that are in those 2 categories, which are the 2 most important categories in the top 11 in the country. Defensively, we've talked about some of the things, but we held them to 10 points again, which is really important. You start looking at stopping the run. They had 20 yards rushing, so that was 1.67 yards per attempt. We hit the quarterback. We had 7 sacks, 16 hits, 13 pressures, and 5 batted passes, which means we're continuing to get more pressure on the quarterback, a lot of that from up front with the front 4. We did feel like we handled the no-huddle better. We were more organized, and we had fewer mistakes, and we're starting to see that each week now. Third downs we've talked about. The players of the game were Lamar Houston and Brian Arakpo. They played really, really well. The ball hawks, meaning they got the ball back for us. Sergio Kendall batted a ball on 4th down. Brian Arakpo batted a ball on 4th down, and Roderick McElroy caused a fumble. The Hard Hat Award, which is the big hit of the game, was Rod McElroy, again on their boundary with a little flat pass that young man turned up. Rod knocked him over near their bench. Concerns for our defense were obvious that they still had 4 explosive plays. We had 14, so it was a mismatch on explosives during the game, but they had 1 run and 3 passes that were explosives that we'd like to cut down, and we still need to get turnovers outside of fourth down stops. We thought the fourth down stops were good, but we also feel like that we can do a better job. We actually had 3, counting the goal line, but we need to knock more balls loose. Kicking game, we won all 3 phases. Justin Tucker is continuing to kick the ball in the end zone and help us with kickoff coverage. Hunter Lawrence is doing his job with the field goals. We didn't punt. We were really close on a punt return and a punt block. The blocking in the back they called on Malcolm Williams was really, really close. And we have a big punt return there, and Malcolm was also the one that was close on the punt block. And our first kickoff return was really, really good. The other 2 weren't as good. The biggest negative of the day was losing Blaine Irby, and Blaine will be out for the year. He did dislocate his knee. Kenny Boyd and John will keep you updated on where they will go from here. Blaine is meeting with the doctors today, and he'll know more about where he goes from here with his treatment and with the operation. He's upbeat and at the same time disappointed. But one of the great rules for the NCAA is that if he gets hurt in the first 4 ball games at any time, and he has a redshirt year available, he can get his redshirt year back. So Blaine will be. This will count as his redshirt year. It will not count against his eligibility, and that is the only positive you can come out of a serious injury. Someone asked if I thought it was a cheap shot or not. It was a legal hit. Young man just hit him low, and it was very, very unfortunate. And Blaine's tough. He's smart. He's a great player for us. And he will be back, and he'll be back full speed ahead, and he'll do it with a good attitude. What we do at tight end, we don't know yet. We'll continue to coach the ones we've got, and Ian Harris will be back in practice on Tuesday, so that'll help us some. But we've just got to move forward, and we're continuing to discuss things like injuries today and what we do with personnel, and so we're a little bit ahead of the game when we get to this press conference.
Coach, with Blaine's injury, obviously he's a different kind of player than the guys who are behind him right now. Do you have to take a lot of his routes and stuff like that? I mean, is that out of the playbook now?
What we have to do is really evaluate all of that today. Blaine gave us the same things that David Thomas and Jermichael Finley give us. And right now we don't have another guy that can do that. So do we move a guy to that position? Do we work some wide receivers inside in certain cases for certain plays? All of that's what we're discussing. We had about an hour and a half on it this morning just with personnel in general and where we go from here and what do we do. We tell our players each week, let's start the season over. Let's don't talk about last week. Let's figure out who we are, and this is the first game of the season. And to do that, we've got to continue to look at what's available on the board and who you have to move and what you have to do. If you look at it, we've lost Jermichael Finley, who we planned on, and then we've lost Josh Marshall and Blaine. So and then Ian Harris got hurt, so we haven't had him back to practice. So we've lost 4 tight ends, and that's a pretty big hit. But it's not an excuse. We've got to find somebody and go forward with it. We won't miss as much in the running game because we got some big guys that can block there, but we miss Blaine's speed and his ability to catch the ball deep.
Coach, are you surprised that there haven't been more explosive plays out of the running game with the running backs?
I don't know. Jeff, you look at it, you all get into all that. What we want to do is score. And, you know, we're throwing the ball as good as anybody in the country. I think Colt's, 3rd in the country in passing efficiency. And we're rushing for 204 yards. We count it with quarterbacks being explosive plays too. I really don't understand if it's an explosive play, why it has to be a certain guy. I mean, that confuses me with people who are asking questions. So,
is it fair to say, though, 3 games in, that the productivity of the running backs hasn't been at the level to...
Yeah, we've probably thrown it more than we've run it. I don't think, you know, you look at Cody had really good production Saturday night. It didn't look at as much because he had 4 plays on the goal line, which cut your yards per carry down. That's why you have to be careful with stats. We've pulled, I thought Vondrell was hurt at El Paso to a degree, and I was really proud of him that he played and fought through it. And we pulled him most of the second half, and the other night he carried the ball 7 times, I think. So unless you get a back that carries it 25 times a game, most likely, unless it's like Jamal could make a 75-yard run. We're not going to be that. That's not our personality. We may have some 12-yard runs, some 15-yard runs, but we're more in the Cedric Benson back situation where we're going to make our 8, 10, 12, 15-yard runs, we're not going to be Jamal Charles. We're not going to see that 98-yarder, I don't think. I just don't see that happening for us. So we're concerned about first downs and touchdowns. We're not concerned because that's not who we are. It's not our personality. Jordan made more explosive plays Saturday night, and that was important to us. We've lost Blaine in our explosive plays. Chris Obanai is making really good explosive plays in the passing game, and that's important for us. So what we've got to do, Jeff, is create explosive plays in some other way if we're not getting them. And usually you get them on option. Usually you get them on a play that bounces out, and I think the longest one's probably 16, 17 yards Saturday night. So I don't, after 3 weeks, defenses are going to get faster. I don't see us getting more explosive plays out of the running backs, if that's what you're asking. So, but we can't quit. I mean, we can't just shut it down and say, we need explosives, let's get some. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, we are what we are, so we got to take what we got and refine it and try to figure out who can get some explosives and get the ball in their hands.
Coach, I can't remember a time when 4 teams, 1, 2, 3, 4 teams have been in the top 10 from the Big 12. This is pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's by far our best year, no question. Kansas had the close near miss down at South Florida, which was a tough road game for them and a lot of humidity because we did that last year at Central Florida. But they'd probably be a top 10 team because they were 12th if they hadn't had the near miss. So they're all really, really good, and we get to play them all, which is really exciting. But it's great for this part of the country, and it says to people who form the Big 12 it worked. And I think we got some great football games coming up. And we got to make sure that our focus is this weekend and that we continue to get better because we're not ready to do what we need to do yet. We got a lot of work to do, and that's why we got to get better each week.
Coach, with all the freshmen that have been in the safety mix, are you pleased where they are right now? Do you like where that is?
I would think that we're pleased with most of the things we got, and they all need work, to be honest. It's we're a lot further along than we were 3 weeks ago. But we're still the team that everybody said was under the radar, and they didn't know if they were any good, and they had all these question marks, questions about running backs, questions about receivers, questions about tight ends, questions about safeties. I mean, you know, it's we haven't changed anything. We've just answered the bell 3 times, and each week we'll know a little bit more about who we are. I don't know if we're any good or not. I mean, we're better than the 3 we've played, and they're playing really hard. You got to like the attitude of the team. But are we as good as we've been? I don't know. I mean, those are still question marks that are out there I think we'll get more answered this weekend than people think we are. When a team gets beat like Arkansas did, and basically because of 4 big plays, 28 points, 21 off turnovers, and 2 long runs, they're going to be really mad. So we're going to see the best Arkansas shot of the year, and that'll be great for our team. We need to see that.
We got one more question in here somewhere. Coach, I was going to ask you, when you recruited Colt, did you think 4 years later you'd be talking about one of the most prolific offensive players in the school's history?
We really did, with the only question mark that if would he be able to transition from what he did in high school to this level of football, because he was from a much smaller school. And you can't answer that. You don't know if he'll stay healthy. You don't know if he can handle this stage, and he's done that. He's more than done it. How many people could follow what Vince Young did their first year and produce like he did? How many people could be under the scrutiny last year that he was under, winning 10 games, and you'd have thought he didn't win any? I mean, you'd have thought he was the worst quarterback in the country with some of the comments, and it did not bother him at all. In fact, it motivated him. So he's got the mentality it takes to be a great quarterback here, and we just need to keep him doing what he's doing and keep improving.
You said earlier George played one of the best games in his career. Obviously, he was really impressive, but why was it his best maybe to you?
Because he made the big plays. We're looking for explosives in any way we can get them. You lose Limas, you lose Jamal, and you lose Jermichael Finley. 2 of those 3 were supposed to be back, and that's a lot of your speed. So what we've got to do is as we play against faster teams with better defensive backs, we got to figure out how to create them. And if we're not seeing, we just lost the tight end one. We're not getting them right now out of the running back spot. The quarterback spot is getting them, and you're looking for the receiver. He's one of the keys to us because he's one of the fastest players on our team. He and Malcolm Williams both have great speed, so we need to get some deep balls to them. And I was glad to see him not only make some plays with some underneath balls deep, because those count as explosives, but also the flea flicker was maybe the most wide open play I've ever seen. In fact, I think they had 11 guys within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage when the ball was thrown. So that's not only a good call by our offensive coaches, but those don't work unless you have super execution. He and Colt and Chris Obenai have been around a long time, so they sold it perfectly. And then he had another double move for a touchdown, which was an explosive, and then he had another explosive off of a ball he caught across the middle and made a super move down the middle. So he's one of the keys for us to get more explosive plays.
We got the Big 12 conference call. Thank y'all very much.
Thank you.